Without further ado, I present to you. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Live with Wolfman. I am your host, Jacob Wolfman, and this is a show about all the things that you're interested in the martial arts world. I have a good topic today that I think needs to be discussed, and that is travel hacks. Traveling is an integral part of any competitor's life, whether you're going to, short distances to local tournaments, or longer treks to national tournaments, or even longer treks to worldwide tournaments. Maybe you're United States flying to the Irish Open, or you're in another country flying to Orlando for the U.S. Open, or something of that nature, going to Italy. It all applies here. We always are traveling. We're always on the move, and we're always trying to figure out that whole world of traveling and how to do it the right way. And there's so many little tips and tricks. So I thought that through my travels, I've come up with a few ideas of what I do, and I thought I would share some of them with you today. And I know that you guys also have some of your tips of your own that you've been recommending. So I have an interesting new feature to the show that we started up. We tried one episode, and I think I'm comfortable enough to just have it as a staple of the show. Now, anytime that you wish during these types of episodes, as long as I have it up on the screen, the Call Me Now, feel free to call me, and I will put you live on the air, and we can have a conversation. I think I think it's a fun new feature of the show, and it totally benefits if you are tuned in live to be able to do that type of stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I have a list of some travel hacks that are going to make your life a little bit better. And let me be smart about it. I'm going to pull up a website here. This is my absolute go-to website whenever I want to book airline travel. What airline travel services do you guys use? I know, like, back in the day, I was like on Expedia, then I jump on Priceline, and then I jump on this website, that website, then go to Kayak, which like aggregates them all, and like you always had to go to a million websites to figure it out. And then later something else called Hitmonk came out, but this website I'm about to show you right now, I think it just crushes everything. It crushes all the competitors out there, and it's not talked about enough because people just, okay, it's Google. That's what it is. So I'm just going to show it to you. Google.com/flights. This is my #1 website for traveling. And now let me show you what I like about Google. So I live in Madison. So let's say I want to go to, well, I don't want to go to Chicago because I can drive to Chicago. I'm trying to think of tournaments coming up. Amerikick. Okay, so Philadelphia. So I can type it in. Boom. I get like instant results. So you go to Hitmonk and all those other sites, and like it takes like a minute, and they're like populating, thinking, our machines are out calculating, blah blah blah. Google is just instantaneous, and they give your results right away. And obviously speed is good, but what's nice about the instantaneousness of it is that it allows you to quickly like make little alterations to your travel plans and then get automatic results. They always give you the best. I've never found prices that are cheaper anywhere else. They're always going to give you the same results as all these other sites out there. I'm totally all about Google.com/flights. You can. Christy says she uses cheap tickets. Christy, I challenge you to do a recommendation or to do a comparison. Go to Google.com/flights. See what results you get. Go to cheap flights. See what results are on cheap flights. And if they're the exact same, I don't see why you wouldn't stick with Google, to be quite frank with you. So here's the thing. For me, I live in town Madison, which has its own airport, small little airport, and that airport is really expensive to fly out of. So I'm oftentimes comparing flying out of different airports. And what I really like about Google.com/flights is that when you go up here, you can actually search to depart from multiple airports at the same time. So MSN is a airport code for Madison. Sometimes I'll fly out of Milwaukee, which is MKE, and sometimes I'll fly out of O'Hare, which is ORD. And then so I can type in all 3 of those destinations, and then I can instantaneously, here I have the results for, the tickets prices depend, this one here, it's ORD, ORD, ORD. So clearly flying out of Chicago, no surprise, it's going to be cheaper for me. But that's awesome. The other thing I can do is, if you don't know the airport code, you can just type in the city, right? You can type in Philadelphia. You can type in the word Philadelphia instead of PHL, which is Philadelphia airport code, and it's going to give you the results for all of the airports, if there were multiple airports in Philadelphia. So that's super great. So obviously I can do the same thing. Let's say I'm going to DC, because DC has a couple airports. It's got DCA, it's got IAD, forget what that one stands for. But I can see, so now I have all of these things going on. I have 3 possible airports to leave out of, 2 possible airports to get into. Like, you can't beat that. You really can't. Chrissy says, we check from Pensacola, Mobile, New Orleans, and Atlanta. Yeah, so it's great to be able to, like, instantly get results. Google.com/flights is my best friend when it comes to traveling. So that's my number 1 tip. If you guys have any tips, you can always call in the show and talk about your tips, and we're gonna have a conversation. Some of my tips are more generalized, so they don't even just apply to martial arts athletes. They apply to a lot of people. But I know that you guys have some martial arts athlete specific tips, especially in regards to what you bring on for weapons and what you do with your uniforms and things like that. So my second tip that I have for everyone is that you really want to know your commit to an airline if you can. Commit to one specific airline and try to fly just on those guys. Don't always go for the cheapest ticket here. Okay, so these ticket prices that you see online, they don't account for a lot of things like they don't account for checked bags or carry-on fees or all these other like miscellaneous hidden fees and stuff. So a lot of times, like, you might end up on like Spirit Airlines or something, and then you might end up actually paying more money than you expected because Spirit Airlines tax on so many fees that by the time you actually pay for what you wanted, you might as well have just flown on one of the bigger airlines because the price would be almost the same. So I recommend committing to just one of them. When you commit to one airline, then what happens is you start getting benefits. You get to board the plane first, or pick your seats earlier, or get more leg room, or eventually, if you do it enough times, you get free checked bags, and you save a ton of money that way. And you get to change your flight. So let's say you need to leave a little bit earlier in the day. You can go online and oftentimes you can change your flights for free. There's a lot of benefits and stuff. I'm committed to United. The reason I'm committed to United is because the nearest hub out there is Chicago O'Hare, and that is a United hub. So United has hubs in Chicago, Denver, LA, I think New York, and those are like big places I'm often flying to. Like I fly to Denver a lot. I fly to LA a lot. Oh, Houston's another one, which connects to Mexico. So I'm often transferring in Houston, and so because of those spots, like I'm always on United. So even if it costs like $20, $30, $40, even $50 more for me to fly somewhere on United, I'm still going to do it because that's going to save me in the long run for the following year, because I'm going to rack up points. I'm going to be eligible for platinum and gold status flying, which makes all of my checked bags free. So maybe I spent an extra $50. That pushes me over the edge to that gold status. But now next year I can do 2 checked bags for free, and those checked bags are usually $25 a pop. So now I'm saving myself a ton of money. So I totally recommend that you find an airline and stick to it. If you live near Atlanta, hint hint, Delta is your the airline you want to fly out of as much as possible because that's their hub. So you got to do a little bit of homework. You got to kind of feel it out and see which airline is like best for you. depending on where you are in the country. Like Philadelphia, it might be American Airlines. That's their hub. And you get to learn this stuff after traveling a lot, like which airlines, which airports, like which part of the country you live in is best for you. So yeah, like I fly United now, and I can now, with my current status, I have 3 checked bags that I can do. I get bumped up to first class more times than not, and I get to choose my seat. And I'm always at economy plus, at least. I always have the extra leg room. I always get to board the plane, one of the first people to board the plane. And that's just because I always just fly United. I'm just super loyal to them. Even though I don't really think United is all that great of an airline, it's just the fact that I stuck with them. So that's my tip. Be committed to one particular airline. It'll save you a lot of money and make the flight experience better. Oh, and then the lounge. Chrissy mentions the lounge. Yeah, I guess you can go to the lounge too, which totally overrated, especially for United. Totally an overrated thing. But hey, free snacks, I guess. Okay, so that leads me into my next tip, my next travel hack for you. If you are committed to that airline, even if you're not committed to an airline, you want to always be collecting points. Points are your friend. Airline miles, credit cards, whatever you got to do, like focus on getting those points because you can pay for flights with those points. If you aren't collecting your points, it's like throwing money down the toilet. It's like, why wouldn't you? Even if you fly on an airline you don't frequently fly on, like sometimes, I pretty much always fly United, but sometimes it's American Airlines. I have to fly American Airlines. It's just cheaper. Like it's hard to argue. United might be a couple $100 more. So I have an American Airlines frequent flyer account, and I am racking up points on American Airlines. It's going to take me a lot longer to exchange those into anything, but you got to get those points. If you're old enough to have a credit card and responsible enough to have a credit card, I recommend going out and finding a credit card that does the points, like the Chase Sapphire, the Chase, like the United. United has its own credit card, Explorer Plus, or whatever. This isn't a credit card commercial, but go out and find those credit cards that focus on accumulating points. And since you're traveling all the time, you greatly benefit from it. So that's my next hack for you. Focus on your credit cards. The next one is to know your airline's app. Almost all airlines have apps these days. The big ones definitely do. Know how your app works inside and out. If you fly United, like I said, you can go right in the app and you can change your seats right there, and you can get updates and stuff, and you don't have to worry about all this like old school check-in process. You can skip having to check unless you have a checked bag or something. But you can avoid a lot of hassle, and a lot of times, if you have that phone and you're waiting to board, you can pull your phone out and maybe an open seat popped up that wasn't there before. You can quickly snag it right on your app and do that kind of tricky stuff. So just know your app, or know your airline's app. It's a valuable tool. I use it all the time. Although I say when you're doing seat swapping and things like that, obviously it's easier when you're flying by yourself. To move a family is tough. Tip number 5, and this one I actually have to follow myself. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I had an appointment and I couldn't do it. But schedule an appointment with the TSA to get the TSA pre-check. If you're traveling all the time, they have that TSA pre-check thing where there's you get to skip the line, or the line's significantly shorter. It's just great. So go ahead and just schedule an appointment with the TSA and have your little sit-down appointment and say, hey, I'm not a terrorist, or whatever they ask you. I'm not really sure. And avoid a hassle. Yes, it's a hassle to schedule an appointment and show up to a meeting and have to provide this documentation and all this stuff. But if you think about how much time that is compared to all of the time that you're standing in line for all of those airports every single month, it adds up, and it's totally worth your time to go sign up and have that pre-check thing. So I definitely recommend it. Plus, you don't have to take off the shoes, and you don't have to unzip your bags and all of that just nonsense that they make you do through the security. If you guys want, like I said, I'm accepting phone calls today. If anybody's brave enough to call in, feel free. If you guys got some tips, leave some tips. The next tip I have here is, this one is for if you're traveling really far. So maybe you're going from the East Coast to the West Coast, vice versa, or you're going across the ocean, you're going across the Atlantic, you're going across the Pacific or something, and like you're going to be all jet lagged. The easiest way to fight jet lag, there's two things to do. Then the first thing is to assume you are in the time zone that you will be arriving in as early as you can. So in extreme examples, sometimes I'll fly to Australia where it's I don't know, it's like a 13 or 12 hour, 11 to 13 hour time difference. I don't really remember. So what I have to do is I have to like trick myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my clock, my watch, and it says it's 7 a.m. on my watch, but really it's 7 p.m. So with that in mind, in like 2 hours when I'm on the plane, I should be trying to like go to bed. All right, I got a phone call. Somebody's calling in. Let's see if it's actually one of my callers or it's.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
This sounds like it's a phone. It sounds like it's a somebody from the show. You are live with Wolfman. Who is this?
This is Ryan.
Ryan, what's going on?
Not much. We're watching your live feed.
Yes, sir. So
I have no idea what it's about. My foreman over here next to me in the truck was like, hey, call those numbers.
All right, well, so you're in a truck right now, so that's perfect. Cause
I'm in a bucket truck. We trim trees.
Perfect. Well, listen, Mr. Bucket Truck Guy, I got a question for you.
What's that?
Well, the show's topic right now, we're talking about travel hacks. Like, what are like tips and tricks for people like on the road? Do you have any tips and tricks for us?
Yes, use your damn blinkers.
Okay.
I just lost.
That's definitely very valuable advice.
Yes. And stop cutting people off.
Okay.
Stop being in a rush. You know, because I have to drive on the highway 57 miles a day to and from work. Yeah.
So basically what you're telling me is common decency.
You break it up, buddy.
All right, well, can you hear me now?
I'm in a bad service area, buddy. But we'll keep watching your show, and you have a good one, all right?
All right, then.
Peace out.
Peace out. All right, that was the weirdest call I've ever had. Thanks, Ryan, for calling. Driving his truck He's driving his truck. So there's your travel tip for you. Make sure you use your blinkers, okay? Awesome. If you guys want to be on the show, feel free. I don't know what's going to happen when you call this number. It could be anything. So today, again, we're talking about travel hacks, and we're talking about travel hacks specifically for martial arts athletes. But if you're a truck driver and you have some travel hacks, you can call in and express your rage, your road rage, right on the live air. Okay. Chrissy, talking about TSA pre-check and stuff, Chrissy says she always gets searched. That's funny. I never get searched. I don't know what it is. Actually, I've been searched a few times, or I've had my bag searched a few times, and I carry some really weird stuff because it's always like weird camera gears and giant hard drives and all kinds of stuff. So sometimes I do get searched, and it always seems to be the little slow airports that have nothing better to do that give me the hardest time. The big airports just don't care. All right, what's up? What's up now? I lost my train of thought. Ryan threw me off. Assume the time zone. Okay, so my next tip, this is specifically for martial artists going to the big tournaments. Sometimes the big tournament is held at the big hotel, which means a big price tag, and maybe you could do a little bit of homework and see if there's something cheaper out there. go and just see, if you're willing to, see if there's a cheaper alternative hotel out there. Maybe the cost, if there's a cheaper hotel plus the cost of an Uber, you're still going to save a ton of money. And maybe with that kind of mentality, you can actually even afford to go to extra tournaments during the year because you sacrifice the big fancy hotel in place of, like, you know, the Holiday Inn or the, you know, Motel 8 or, you know, whatever you want. There's always other hotels in the area, and you know, it's a little more inconvenient, but you got to weigh the pros and cons there. So always keep an eye out for that. Even the tournaments always give you a discount, but oftentimes that discount isn't, you know, it's still more expensive than the cheaper alternative down the street. So there's another tip for you. Scott says, you hear that, Delaware? Use your blinkers. Scott, I feel like you know Ryan. Chrissy says that the organic sugar in her husband's coffee always sets off the bomb alarms. That's weird. So Lacey says, for AKA, we're paying $150 less by staying 1 block away. That pays for my parking and still gives me an extra $30 in my pocket. Okay, so that's expensive parking. $150 less by being 1 block away. So, AKA Grand National, AKA Warrior Cup, are you willing to walk a block to save $150? Sounds like a deal to me. That's definitely something I would be looking into if I were you. All right, next tip. Oh, this goes back to riding on the plane. If you are able to choose your seats and stuff, there is a ton of benefit of sitting in front of the plane. It's not, sometimes people think it's overrated or whatever, but sitting in front of the plane, or as close to the front, not literally in front of the plane, but sitting as close to the front rows as possible is a huge win. For one, it's quieter. You know, you get your service, you know, food and drinks and stuff first. But you also get, actually, I know this sounds silly, but you get cleaner air. You got to think about the plane is a pressurized cabin, and the air is just constantly being recycled. So all the sick people on the plane, they're hacking up their sick nastiness into the air, and all the people in the back of the plane are catching it and breathing it in. So you're far more likely to actually get sick sitting in the back of the plane than in the front. So for health reasons, you want to be in the front of the plane. The other main reason why you want to sit towards the front of the plane is oftentimes planes are delayed and people are rushed, and you might have a short time to catch your connecting flight. You want to be able to get off that plane as quick as you can when you get to your gate, and the people in the front of the plane get to get off the plane first. So you want to get up there so you can get out quickly. It's just a huge win. Sometimes you don't have the ability to choose where you sit, but when you do, like, get all the way up to the front as much as you can. Also, here's a tip. I didn't write this down, but know your aircraft and know which seats. Not all seats are created equal. They might charge you the same, but some seats suck. Here's a tip. The economy seats, the first row of the economy seats are really bad. If you have the choice between the first row of the economy seats and the second row of the economy seats, always choose the second row of the economy, because the first row of economy seats, you don't get as much legroom, even though it appears that you do because there's no seat in front of you, but there's like a wall, so your foot can't literally extend as much, and you have nowhere to slide your carry-on stuff under a seat in front of you because you don't have that. So it's a pain in the butt, so don't sit there. Jeff Doss, NBL El Presidente and tournament promoter of Grand Slam Open, says it's always good to give competitors multiple hotel options. It's not always easy, but it can be done. Yeah, for sure. I guess I was talking more for the tournaments that the tournament is inside a hotel, like at Battle of Atlanta, where like you go down the elevator and then boom, you're in the tournament. But yes, it is good. As a tournament promoter, you should be giving out multiple options. Infinity National Championships, another one comes to mind. Like the tournament is at the Kalahari, and so if you wanted to find something cheaper, you technically could, because that city is just packed full of hotels. Well, all right, what's my next one? My next tip here. This one is for my creators. This is for people like me. When you're on the plane, that's a great time to be productive. That's a great time to be, studying if you got homework to do, or just to write stuff down and create stuff and like dream and plan. It's kind of, you kind of feel cool when you're sitting on a plane and you look out to the window and you see clouds, and it's just like you can kind of get in this groove. You can put some headphones on, listen to music or a podcast or something, and then just start writing. Like write out plans. Like what do you want to do? Maybe you're trying to be a better competitor, and like how can you make your forms better? What's a training program you can do? Maybe you want to grow your social media. What's a social media strategy you can do? What's some content you can create? What's a blog article? What are your goals for 2018? Anything. Like it's just. You're stuck there. You can't move. And so you might as well use that time for something productive. So create something that you otherwise in a normal day just wouldn't spend time doing. And I have come up with so many good ideas and gotten so much productive work done on planes, because it's kind of like creative projects and thought processes that I normally just don't sketch into my day enough. So there's a cool hack for you. It's not going to save you any money, but it could. If you sit on the plane thinking of ways to save money, then it saves you money. But it's just a nice way to dream. It's your little dream spot. I hate plane rides personally, and the only thing I like about them is the fact that I can be kind of like isolated. I can't be distracted with social media. Like nobody's there to bother me. It's just me and a pen and paper, or me and my laptop. And can take notes and stuff, so it's great. And then so my last travel hack for today, before we start talking about your travel hacks, is power strips. Power strips, they make friends. When you're at an airport, have a power strip with you, carry it with you, and then whenever there's then you never have to worry about this whole finding an outlet thing, because there's always very limited outlets out there, and you want to make sure you have a full charge of your cell phone or your electronics and stuff before you board that plane. And a lot of times, there's people that are hogging them all and stuff. Well, if you bring a power outlet, then not only do you get to plug in your stuff, but you're offering outlets for others. So you can always just unplug somebody's stuff from the wall, put your power outlet in, and then they're happy, you're happy, and other people can be happy too. So power strips power strips make you friends. Obviously, also you want to have that set up on my nightstand in the hotel room. I set up my power strip. I'm a media guy, so I have all kinds of stuff I gotta charge, but I just charge everything up in my little power strip workstation. They're super valuable things. You wouldn't think to bring a power strip with you necessarily, but in this day when everything's a bunch of electronics, super important. All right, I'm going to switch over and talk about your comments. You guys had some stuff to say. Let me see what you guys had to say. Richard Osborne says, ride the train into Chicago. So Richard is from Missouri, I believe. So that's a short distance. I think trains are the worst way to travel ever. Hate them, hate trains. I could definitely go on a Wolfman rant about how much I hate trains. Because basically I had a really bad experience. I had the worst travel experience ever with a train once. But, people look at trains and they go, wouldn't that be just fun to go on the train and see the countryside? You know what? It looks good in movies. It looks good on Harry Potter, but it's not fun. They overbook those things. When I went on a train ride from Chicago to Arizona, They overbooked it, so there's people standing everywhere waiting for you to get up so they can take your seat. Then they also the carts were 2 floors. And the first floor were the bathrooms. The bathrooms were backed up. And they opened up these ventilation things, and so you just smell the bathrooms every time they turn on the air. So it's either you're hot and sticky, or you have the air, but it smells like a backed up bathroom. We stopped in one stop, and we picked up like all these Eagle Scouts who again had no seats, so they're just standing next to you. They hadn't showered in a week because they've been camping, and it reeked. And you can't lay down because you're in these seats, and there's like no way to sleep. It's just the most god awful, miserable experience you could ever have for traveling. So go take a train. If it's only like 5 hours or less, like yeah, maybe you want to take. Like, I could handle that, but oh man, I hate trains. I just hate them. What else we got here? Heather says, keep a medicine and toiletry clear travel bag ready and stocked at all times. Easy to throw in the bag quickly and always have the necessities. That's a cool idea to have it just have it on standby. Like when you get home, don't unpack your toiletry bag. Just have it made for travel. So when it's go time and you got to go to the airport, you got your next tournament because you go to one every month, just throw it in your bag, good to go. Heather recommends a clear travel bag. They do recommend that. The TSA recommends having a clear travel bag. I think it's overkill. Mine isn't clear. I just have it unzipped. They never dig through it. They don't care. Also, I don't have as many like lotions and soaps and liquids and stuff, so there's not much to go through. All right, what else we got here? You guys have a lot of comments in here. I asked people, has anyone ever had trouble with weapons as carry-ons in checked bags? That's something I always wonder. Like, how do people carry weapons through the airport? Like bow staffs and commas and chucks and stuff like that, swords. Michelle Teo, Emma Teo's mom, says that Emma's bows have been missing 3 times. But they always, like, considering how often they travel, it's not that often. And Michelle says that she recommends that you label your weapons cases so they're easy to identify. So, like, she gives an example saying Emma's bow staff case, it has hot pink duct tape all over it with Hello Kitty stickers. So it's, like, super obvious. Like, it's easy to pick out, and it's like nobody's ever going to steal that. They're not going to be walking away with a pink, Hello Kitty stickers thing. So that's a good call. I do the same thing with my travel bags. I have like unique tags on my bags. Lately I've been doing some Avenger themes. So like I'll have like an Iron Man bag and I have a Captain America bag, and like they're just really easy to spot. Oh, here's a huge tip for you. I should have wrote this down. As far as a luggage is concerned, you want the 4-wheelers. I'm going to do something unprecedented in the show, and I'm going to run away real fast. I'm going to be right back. Hold on, everybody. Right back. Okay. I've gone through a lot of different luggage throughout my travel days, and I have to say that any type of luggage that has the 4 wheels is the way to go. This is like a carry-on size bag. You want to have the 4 wheels because it's so much easier to move stuff around in 4 wheels. When it's only on 2 wheels, you constantly have to drag it around. When it's on 4 wheels, you can set it up right and you can just glide it. You can just push it around, and it's so much easier. You have no idea how much easier it is to move stuff around on 4 wheels versus 2, and most bags only have 2 wheels, so I definitely recommend that. I also really like this hard case style because it keeps the contents a little bit safer. It's not so smushy. That's just the way it came. And the other thing I really like, and most bags have this feature, but the double zipper concept here. What's nice about that? Where's my zipper at? If you are really packing your bag really tight, this is the secret how it works. You undo this big one, okay? So now you get like this extra, see this extra kind of layer here? Now you can travel like this, but this isn't very safe. But what this does, it just gives you more breathing room. So when you want to, once this thing is all jam-packed, you can use this zipper, zip it back up, and it will take the pressure. It'll take the pressure off the main zipper that actually opens and closes it. So it's going to basically just save your bag. So that's a cool little concept. Big fan of it. Let me get my headphones back in. I don't even need headphones this episode. I'm not doing any audio. Jeff Doss says that weapons cases are tough. It's better to use the case, you make a case as big as possible because the smaller PVC pipes get stuck every time. It's interesting. I did read somebody leave a comment saying that they'll put their bow staffs in a fishing pole case. And yeah, whenever you can put your gear in more common cases that people think it's like golf cart or golf bag or it's a fishing pole thing or something, like they seem to not care as much. Once you start putting it in weird stuff, they get weird about it. I don't know, I don't know why they're okay if they think it's golf clubs, but they're not okay if they think it's something else. Then they get suspicious, and you don't want to start conversations with people at the airport. You just want to get through it. Tarek says that the airline lost his bow once, and he had to borrow someone else's bow, and it sucks using a bow that you're not used to. Yeah, it does suck to lose your weapon. I had that happen once at Disney World, U.S. Open. I relied on the Disney Magical Express to magically deliver my stuff from the airport to my hotel, because that's what they're supposed to do. And they magically didn't get it to my hotel room till after my division started, so I magically had to go and buy a new magical uniform and a magical belt and a new magical pair of chucks, and that unmagically sucked. That was really lame. It's even harder for chucks. I feel like bow staff is a little bit easier because everybody has a bow staff. Well, chucks might be easier these days. Back when I was competing, I used Matt Emig chucks, and only Matt Emig used Matt Emig chucks. No one else. Everyone else had the ropes, and there's just a ton of variations. So it was hard to find a pair of chucks. I had to go buy a pair in order to compete the way I wanted to, and even then it didn't work because you have to get used to your weapon. Each weapon moves a little bit differently, so don't lose your weapon. Chrissy says maybe I'll just order a bow and have it shipped to the hotel and just give it to someone. Yeah, I would check the prices of that. I don't know how much it costs to ship stuff in the mail, but then you got to worry about if you're going to lose it in the mail, because I've had that happen too. I shipped a hard drive off to somebody once, and then it took 4 months to deliver it because the UPS lost it. What other comments you got here? You guys are talking about using PVC pipe for bow staff. Another suggestion here is to carry on your gis and belts. And that goes again to the whole idea of what happens if you lose your luggage, which happens sometimes. Usually they find it within 24 hours, or you had a plane delay, and so your luggage got shipped off, but you didn't, or vice versa. Your luggage had to stay on a plane, but you had to get rerouted, and you went on a different plane, and you arrive, and your bags aren't there. All kinds of things like that happen all the time. So, carry your essentials with you on carry-on is a good call, especially if you're on a team and you have a team custom uniform. You can't just go to the tournament and buy a gi while you're there. So that's always a good recommendation. If you can, bring your essentials on carry-on with you. As a videographer, my essentials are my video equipment, and I never let anyone else touch my video gear ever, because it's like, well, it's expensive. But I don't want to lose it. It's like my baby. If I lost my camera or I lost like any of my equipment, then I can't do my job. So, you know, if you don't have your gi, you don't have your belt, you can't do your job as a competitor. Melissa says, I like this one. See, I'm not a competitor, so I don't think about some of these things. Bring a socket wrench to take apart trophies. That is interesting, right? How do you guys do it? I want to know, everybody in the chat today, how do you transport these giant trophies that you win at these national tournaments? If you're constantly traveling and you're winning these 5-foot gargantuan trophies, or even like you know, some of them are just like this big and they got a big cup on them or something. Like, how do you transport those? Do you literally just hold onto that thing when you're sitting on a plane and you just hug it for like 3 hours and everybody looks at you? Do you shove it in the overhead and like hope nobody messes with it? And then, like, you know, somebody's trying to like actually put their luggage up there and they're like, oh, there's a giant trophy. Now I have nowhere to put my luggage. Like, what do you do with that stuff? I want to know. I guess you got to like take it apart and then build it back together when you get home. It's interesting. Jeff just says yes. Michelle recommends bringing an Apple TV for downtime in the hotel room. Yeah, sounds good to me. I use a Chromecast, and I tried to set up a Chromecast at a hotel once, but it was a pain in the butt because you have to connect to the Wi-Fi in order to set it up, and it was dumb. I don't think you have to do that with Apple TV. Heather says she brings her Google Cast. Well, okay, I was just saying I think Google Cast is a pain in the butt. I don't know if Apple TV works with the Wi-Fi or not. I don't know how that works. Chrissy says that they have a big tournament bag that they keep Band-Aids, hair ties, Advil, girl stuff, hand sanitizer, lint roller, all. It's great. She's just listing all this stuff. Extra, just a whole bag of stuff. So basically her point is she carries with her like a to-go bag. It's got all the essentials that they need every time they go to a tournament. They don't have to unpack and repack. It's just like put it in and boom, get out the door. And if you're always on the road and you got to have these systems in place. That's another great travel hack for you. You know, have your systems in place, your travel systems, so that you don't have to worry about all this like packing and unpacking and packing and unpacking. Just eliminate as much as that possible by having, you know, your travel thing. So it's literally like, oh, another tournament, pick up the bag, walk out the door, maybe bring some fresh underwear or something. Pop-up hamper is handy. Lacey says that we always drive. We always bring a laundry basket, which makes it easier to load and unload. Oh, that's interesting. We put our bags and everything that will fit in there, and then dirty clothes go in as we change. Cool. Helps keeps things tidy. Awesome. We have a first aid kit and toiletry bag in the suitcase. Gis always have the belt with them to make sure that we have it. Good. See, that's a good system right there. You always have like the belt like wrapped around the gi or something. Then you know you're not going to forget it. Then bring a small cooler with drinks and food since they're driving. And then they don't have to eat fast food all the time. They don't have to eat out for every single meal. Yeah, so it sounds like they got a good system. I like the laundry basket system. That's smart. It's like I got everything I need right here. Boom. Like I don't have to carry this bag and this bag and this bag. It's just I got my unit, and it serves as a dirty clothes hamper, so dirty clothes go in it. And then you go home and then right into the washing machine. Anna says have a good travel partner. Aw, well, yeah, that's a good call, Anna. I can't argue with that. Lacey is wondering if weapons are allowed on Amtrak. And then he shows me a screenshot from Amtrak.com. Martial arts and self-defense items, including but not limited to billy clubs, nightsticks, and nunchucks. They are not allowed. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so another reason not to use Amtrak, they won't even allow you to bring martial arts weapons with you. So, forget Amtrak. Stop riding the trains. Old school, dumb technology. Just need to get rid of trains. Trains are for coal. Kevin says hit Hotwire for cheap hotels in the area. Again, I've found that Google can't be beat. Hotwire, Priceline, Expedia, Kayak, Orbitz, Cheap Air, Cheapo this, Cheapo that, dot whatever. Google has everything. They have the results instantaneously, the same results. Just Google it, man. Google it. Google's the king. Christy says we always have snacks and water in our go bag as well. Food's so key, man. Yeah, have snacks with you for sure. You always want to have some snacks with you wherever you go, for everything. Awesome. Well, we are almost out of time. If you guys got any more, I'm sorry. Oh, Jeff, I have a comment from Jeff. I got distracted. Jeff says, I let an adult underbelt carry my Grants trophy once so he could answer all of the questions. And he even made up a story why he was giving it to me after. That was a fun one. All right, so there you go. If you win a Grand Championship trophy, give it to some underbelt, some inspiring, somebody that wants to be inspired, and say, you take care of this, and then give it back to me when we get home. They should really turn it. I know everybody gets enamored about the big giant trophies and stuff, but after you've been in the sport for a few years and a few decades, or after you start winning them all the time and it literally fills up your home, you start to go what's the deal with all these giant trophies? Who cares that they're so big? Every tournament has a big trophy. Maybe we should start giving away cooler awards other than giant pieces of plastic. I don't know. There's got to be something cool out there. I guess they're just, since they're so cheap, you can just stack them really high and then they seem more important because they're tall. But they are difficult. They can hardly fit them in cars. How do you fit them on planes? You got to bring a toolkit just to take them apart. Tournament promoters, I challenge you to create some sort of award when you win that is very cool but is easy to travel with. UFC, they win a belt. Put that in your luggage. It's easy. I don't know. Medals. How about medals? Bring back the medals, the gold, the ribbons and stuff. Like the Olympic gold medal. That would feel awesome to win that at a tournament. I would love to rock that around my neck. Get to wear my trophy. All right. Anyhow, that is today's episode of Travel Hacks. You guys want to keep the conversation going? Go to Live with Wolfman on Facebook, the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/Live with Wolfman. Otherwise, click the link in the description of the post. And keep giving us your hacks. Give us your travel hacks. What do you do to make that travel thing better? Hopefully some of these tips were insightful, helpful. Some of them maybe saved you money. Hopefully some of them actually saved you enough money where you can even compete at more tournaments because maybe you're not spending as much at hotels anymore. Maybe you found a cheaper way to fly. You're using the point system. You are dedicated to an airline so you can get all the benefits of that comes with that. Leroy says that my next shirt needs to be the Wolf Track with the train design. No. Speaking of shirts, I do have a shirt coming out soon, really soon. It's sick. I'm not ready to release the design to the public yet, but once I do, I'm going to show you a way that you can get your hands on a Live with Wolfman shirt. I think that a lot of you guys would love to have that. But I'm going to call it quits for today. Time's up. I'm out. Hope you all have a good Wednesday? Thursday? Thursday. Wow, it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday already. Oh my gosh. I got so much to do. I got to go. I'll